Hello, and thank you for watching. It's Late Night with Soul Delicious, and I'm your host, Darrell Kelley. Today we're going to be talking to two great friends of mine, very great people. I've met them in the restaurant, and basically they've been very good friends ever since. We're going to be joined with Mr. J. Francis Springs.
Thanks, sir.
Along with Reverend Jeffrey Benoit. And these guys are really great guys. They're from the military background. They have a lot of political background. I'm telling you, unbelievable things that we're going to talk about. And I'm going to start off with you, Jay. Jay, how are you?
Best day of my life, and it got better when I saw you, Brother Kelley.
I like that. Well, you know, it's so funny that we've been friends for about maybe 4 years now.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell folks how we met?
Well, the interesting thing about it, before I met Darrell Kelley, I had been eating at what was called Pacific Grill and Buffet, which was a restaurant, Chinese restaurant here in Morrow. And I always made my journey on Tuesday mornings right after one of my meetings at the radio station to come and take advantage of their buffet. And so on this particular Tuesday, I walked in and I noticed that there were no Asians in the house. And I saw this guy with a cell phone glued to his ear walking around like he was important. And I stopped him and I said, "Sir, I thought this was a Chinese restaurant." He said, "No, it's Blackanese. It's $5. Try it. If you like it, that's all you're going to pay." And so I said, "Well, for $5, what have I got to lose?" Ate the food. It was delicious. But I watched the gentleman, who happened to be Mr. Darrell Kelley, walk around talking to guests, and I introduced myself to him as being from WIGO Radio. And hence we began doing a live program at the radio station a couple of days a week.
Live remote here, right?
Yeah, well, we did it at the radio station, if you recall,
right.
that Tuesday and Thursday for about 2 weeks. And I said, "Darrell, this is not working." And then we came here to the restaurant and we started doing it 2 weeks, Tuesday and Thursday, and it still wasn't working as effectively as it had the potential. So we moved it to Sunday, if you'll recall. We started doing it from 2 until 4, doing it live.
Live.
Yeah.
That was basically one of the best things that ever happened, to have a live remote and talking to people and bringing them in. And it was a great thing. We kept giving out great coupons.
Yeah.
It says, "Hey, if you hear us live, you know." It was so. Then I created this thing where it's like, today, tomorrow, hear it, tomorrow, God is forever first, because God is the reason why I click. It was a great thing. So then it turned into this right here, TV.
It has been a journey and a wonderful experience, Darrell. I share with people all the time, meeting someone, learning about their life, and becoming a part of it. It's such an honor. So it's a pleasure to be here on your program today, to see the restaurant having grown as fast and as many people as you get coming in here every day.
Absolutely.
Monday through Friday, and especially on Sunday when you have to stand in line.
Yes. If y'all are listening and you say that you saw Jay and I on this network here, and you come in, and we'll get you in through the line. You don't have to wait that long line. We'll get you in here. We'll get you in here.
Is that special privilege?
Yeah, special privilege. Just call 888-669-4441. And what we're going to do is move right along. We're going to talk to Jeffrey, Reverend Benoit.
Yes, sir.
How are you, sir?
I can't complain. There's enough work out here for all of us, and there's no need to complain.
No need to complain. If you complain, who listens, correct?
Those that's complaining with you.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, complaining people in your ear all the time, that's crazy. So tell them how we met.
We met as a civil rights activist. I was engaged in some of the community issues here, and one of them was homelessness. And we were dealing with an issue of homelessness up under the 75 freeway right there in Midtown Atlanta. And it's almost about the time that they were really trying to rid themselves of the homeless there. And we had brought them down here to So Delicious. I was in here addressing the issues of the community, and for some reason we began to connect, and we brought those individuals down here. And your charity overwhelmed me that you allow them to come in and just eat.
Yes, absolutely, because I remember that day. It was very cold outside.
Yes, it was.
And we went under the bridge, and it was 15 or more, 20. Some people didn't want to go because they didn't want to leave all of their personal possessions. When you live under a bridge and you really cherish all of the things that you have under the bridge, I think that that's a problem in America.
Yes.
Because I believe that there are more valuable things out there other than the stuff you have under the bridge. So people need to understand that that's not the hand God dealt them.
Well, they're not aware that this is all that they have.
I know. I'm agreeing with you.
And they don't know where the next one's coming from.
Absolutely.
And so they're fearful of how to maintain what they have. And so even with a hand out, it's a hand back because I can't separate myself from these few things that I have in life.
And that's what you and I were doing. We were spreading the message that, God has basically gave you more opportunity. You just got to go ahead and go for it.
Gentlemen, if I may add to the conversation the two of you are having, I met a gentleman about 2 years ago, and he was living up under a bridge, and he said, "This is my $30 million rooftop." And I thought about it. This guy is out of the elements, but he is comfortable with the environment that he's living in. And I've seen you, Darrell, and I say it on several occasions, that you have brought people into this restaurant. Not only have you fed them, but you've housed them, and you've given them a job. Now, that's a great heart, and that's making a difference, as Reverend Benoit is saying. You're giving them a hand, but you're also giving them a way out of the situation.
Yes.
But you want to know something? I've done that many, many times over, and I know you guys have as well because I know you guys very well. And that's what we do. But at the end of the day, some people don't realize that that is an opportunity for you, and they don't take advantage of that. What they do is take advantage of it.
Right.
You see, so God will put those ones in your lives who really needs it, and He will make sure that they get what they need. But then at the end of the day, when you have others involved, God will 100% get them out of your circle because God's not going to plant something negative for you. And if He does, it's an experience that He's going to give you to say, hey, this is an experience for me. I can't do it again.
It's
so
nothing but a testimony.
It's a testimony. Yeah. So as the years go by, guys, I really and truly see people come and see people go, and I don't make the same mistakes twice.
There you go.
Interestingly enough, Brother Benoit and I sort of served in the military together. That experience of having to deal with people, and some of them having different lifestyles over the years. Some of them have been homeless. But being in the Army, you begin to have that comradeship that allows you to understand what another person is going through. And I met this young man, and I'm going to call him young man, at the counter as we were coming in, Darrell. He was giving your server the blues, but he was doing it in such a nice way, and it drew me to him to have that kind of comrade.
He's a very likable person, great guy.
Really?
He's good to work with, and he's fun. And at the end of the day, he does that, and I think it's hilarious because he's always, it don't matter, he'll debate with a chicken wing. It don't matter. It don't matter what it is. He's going to debate with whatever comes his way.
Right.
So you just mentioned the military. So you have been in the military. How long have you been in the military?
I have. I was drafted in 1966 and spent 2 years in the Army. Did my basic at Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Did my advanced infantry training at Fort Gordon, went straight to Korea, spent 18 months in Korea. And we were talking earlier about the periods and what's going on now in the world. And having been in Korea, I was stationed at the demilitarized zone, and I could actually look over into North Korea. And you're talking about scary, brother, to see the enemy. Well, I don't call them the enemy. To see the opponent on the other side.
Staring you in the face.
Yeah, looking at you in the face.
Yes.
And realizing that the two of you are there because you believe in one cause. And even though it may be different, you still believe. And I'm sure you had that same experience.
Yes, I spent 32 years in the military. I came in 1976, so any war after the Vietnam War, I had a foot in it.
Right.
And it took me with my travels around the world. And again, yes, I've met so many different people and was able to share with them and take from them as well the learning experiences. And those are what has shaped me into being a person that can always engage anyone. And I believe right now this is the time to engage our youth.
Absolutely.
Our youth get so much information fed to them via social media. And that's their reality unless we counter it with actual wisdom
Yes.
of their what they appear to be their reality. Because if we don't, and if they don't get it, then that becomes their reality, and that's what they act off of. That's what they become.
Darrell, if I may just share with Brother Benoit one of my thoughts about our youth, which we were talking about a moment ago. Going into military service, and especially basic training, it taught me discipline.
Absolutely.
And I really believe that if kids today that think they're so invincible had the experience of going just through basic training, it would change their mindset about life and how invincible they actually think they are.
And in a lot of ways, you're right, because the one thing that they are lacking is some good, solid discipline.
Yes.
And you know what? I think that when we talk about discipline and we talk about what young people don't understand, I think that we should, as older people with experience, we should go ahead and make a step forward to teach these young folks, because it's good to talk about it, but it's better to be about it. So I think that we, the three of us, should definitely go ahead and going forward, go in the communities in the neighborhoods that are really, really suffering because young people, especially the people in the inner cities, they don't have the father figure. They single mothers out there, because myself personally grew up with a single mother and lived in the projects. God took me out of that situation. If it wasn't for God, if it wasn't for other people guiding me in the right direction, Lord knows where I would be today. Right. So when we talk about it, I think that people with experience and they can go out and teach these young kids what it is, because they don't know.
Right.
You see, if they can go ahead and if they can tote weapons and all that stuff into their own neighborhoods, right? We should encourage them to listen to their army, because now you have a real reason to fight. Why fight people that you actually live in your same neighborhood? Does that make sense?
Right.
Absolutely.
Your friend, your brother, your cousin. Yeah. Your neighbor.
Someone you grew up with,
That's the problem, because they're clueless of what's really going on. And at the end of the day, we can go ahead and go to war at any given moment and not knowing why we're going to war in the first place. Because the government goes ahead, they always start stuff, but you never know why they're starting it, and then you have innocent people into a mess that they don't even know what's going on. So we need to start paying more attention to what's going on. Yes. We have to. And I have a thing that I always say. I have a book that's coming out. It's called The Book of Ugin.
Yes.
And in that book, it says spar. And when I say spar, people look at me like we're getting ready to spar. I would say, no, we're not sparring. Spar means we have to stop playing around and start paying attention.
Absolutely.
Once you do that, then you will clearly see all the warning signs that's coming forward. We are having many, many situations right now. And I think people, everybody in the world, especially here at home, needs to start sparring.
Right.
Because if you don't spar, stop playing around and start paying attention, we're in the studio right now. Anything could happen. You hear something bang, and it's because we're not paying attention.
Absolutely.
What I'm getting ready to do is go to a commercial break, and then we're going to come back and talk about some things that we can do as people to help people, but most importantly, what can we do to make a difference?
Well, before you do that, your slogan is, don't come tomorrow, come tomorrow, today.
I like that. Don't wait until tomorrow. Come tomorrow, today. And with that being said, we will be right back after these messages.
A man of God. A man of God. Come Come on, Tim, help me out again.
We are back. Welcome back to the show. We were just having a break, and we were speaking to Reverend Jeffrey Benoit. And Jeffrey, you were saying, Reverend, I'm sorry, you were just saying some things.
Well, I was saying that our issues permeate basically with us as males in our community not being at the table and often on the menu. What am I saying? We have school board meetings, we have county commissioner meetings, we have water board meetings, we have housing meetings, but we're not there. So all of these things are taking place while we're not there, but yet we're on the menu. How are we on the menu? We are the tax-paying citizens that got to fund these things that we are not even aware of. And yet the issues that are going forth, we should be, one, aware of, but make our community aware of them and consistently stop with the apathy and the excuses, because you're going to pay the taxes. You're going to pay the bill is what I'm saying. But yet you don't know what's on the menu.
And you know what? When you don't know what's on the menu, it's crazy. It's like, because we have a restaurant.
Yes.
And I'm just use an example. People come in and they pay for the food, right? But at the end of the day, they're expecting soul food. But they come in and then it's a different variety of food. It could be Mexican or it can be any other type of food. They're going to say, hey, wait a minute. This is not what I ordered. So at the end of the day, what you're saying makes a lot of sense, because we need to know what's on the menu.
Well, let me give you a very, one of most recent. We had an organization came to the board and they wanted to bring a hotel here to Clayton County to help extract some of that revenue from the world's busiest airport. But our Board of Commissioners shot it down.
Why did they do it?
They said they'd rather see it blighted than active.
So
This is your Board of Commissioners.
They just took away jobs for no reason.
The organization opted to give the county 1.5 acres for any type of emergency procedure they wanted, whether it was fire, police, EMS, on those properties, so that, one, there was security there, and that presence probably would have helped clean up the rest of that corridor. But they chose not to. And again, this is because we are not there as citizens, as taxpayers who's paying the bills. So we don't have this tax revenue coming from this hotel, but now it's got to come from where? Your pocket, when I raise the bill next year for the next budget, and it's coming.
The problem is that we're not involved enough.
Absolutely.
And we need to get more involved.
Absolutely.
We need to get young people involved as well. Because if we see what's going on, then at the end of the day, if we're not doing nothing about it, we can't blame nobody but ourselves.
Absolutely.
It's like right now, what happened with the election. Okay, I can't go back and talk about that, but a lot of people are complaining about who they basically elected or who's there now. But whose fault is that? It's the people's fault for not sparring, not paying attention to what's going on. So at the end of the day, when you start paying attention, you could stop a lot of things. Don't wait until the problem happens and then complain. You're really in a problem because you put yourself in that problem.
Absolutely.
So going forward, I started to get more and more involved about the community and the things that's going on. And I really take my hat off to you. I admire you, Reverend, because now you went back to college. And tell the people why you went back to college.
Yes, I went back to college to work on my executive juris doctorate degree, a law degree, because as a civil rights activist, I'm the president of the Clayton Henry chapter of the National Action Network. I run into so many individuals who got legal issues and have absolutely no legal place to turn. And when we look at a lot of these young individuals that are up against the legal community, they're in courts and they're getting these various different sentences by virtue of plea bargains and being sent to jail and being put into a system of probation that's really nothing more than a money-making engine for the community, for the county, for the justice system. All of this is just totally unfathomable that we are the minority in population, but we're the majority in population in the prisons. And so how does that happen? It shows you that they are selectively targeting an individual or a community or a color or a sector, and they're able to consistently build up those populations in these prisons on the backs of those who don't even have the resources, don't have the education, have none of the above, but yet they make up the majority of the populations.
Brother Benoit, as you were talking about the prisons and talking about the education, I really think it's time for us to get the attention of that population of youth out there that, as I was speaking of a few minutes ago, that think they're invincible. That group of individuals does not realize that the prison system has become an industry.
That's it. That's it.
It is no longer run by the state in some parts of the country. It is privately run.
Absolutely.
And you're becoming, in some senses, you're becoming free slave labor.
No, it's not in some senses. In totality.
In totality.
You are a slave.
Right.
The Constitution says that you can return to slavery by virtue of incarceration. And that's what they have done. Return to incarceration into slavery. That is constitutional.
I really think it's time for us, as Mr. Kelley was saying earlier, to step forward and grab that kid by the collar and say, hey, if you don't straighten up, somebody is going to put you up.
Right.
Jay, can I say something?
Sure.
You know, I like what you say. You know, grab the kid by the collar and say, if you don't straighten up, somebody's going to put you up. I like that. But nowadays, we got to grab these kids by the throat and choke the living heck out of them to let them understand that it's serious out here.
Yeah.
It's more of a situation because they need to get it in their heads. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get with a group of people who are very positive people in the communities and spread the word about what's going on in the communities. And I think what we should do is we should show them the morgues, that how young people get killed, take them to the police station, show them how much incarceration there is, take them to a lot of places that they're not aware of. You see, talking to a person is one thing, but showing them is another. If you take them and you show them, say, hey, this is where you're going to end up. This is what your future is all about. And then after you teach them that, you bring out what the law is and show them the law, but most importantly, show them the benefits of America, because there's a lot of benefits in America that is hidden from the young people, such as college grants and what can you do to, do things. And if you teach them how to get ahead, they'll have a choice to say, okay, wait a minute, I didn't like what they taught me. I still want to be a so-called gangster. Well, and then at the end of the day, hey, you know what?
I'll say that, we need to touch bases with this sector of the youth, but we also got to touch bases with the sector of the adults in the community.
The parent.
We have influence and affluence within our community when our presence is noted, but our influence and affluence is even stronger when our presence is absent.
Very absent, very absent.
And we've been absent on so many fronts that this thing has been able to permeate to this massive incarceration situation that's before us now, and yet we're still apathetic about whether or not our presence is going to be there when it's needed or when it's going to be beneficial for us.
You know what I don't like? I don't like when people in certain areas of government, they get a slap on the hand.
Absolutely.
But at the end of the day, when you see people in jail who hasn't even done anything nowhere near what people get slapped on the hand for, they're in jail because of something that is a misdemeanor or something that can be forgiven.
It's called selective prosecution.
Absolutely. So at the end of the day, this can be, we can go on and on all day. But, this really woke me up to realize that there is a problem, a big problem out here, and we have to start paying attention to the situation.
Exactly. And as I'm listening to both of you gentlemen, especially the word or term you use, selective prosecution, you look at a kid from the neighborhood being put in jail for having a trace of a illegal substance in his car. And then here is a millionaire on the other side of town with pounds of an illegal substance, and they get probation.
Yes, yes.
Let me tell you how stupid the system is. And when I say that, I'm really upset about it. It's so stupid, like you can get incarcerated for a trace
yes.
of marijuana. But yet in there, you can go on a plane and fly to New York, or you can fly to Boston or Maryland or all the other towns that they passed a law that marijuana is legal in them towns. You don't even get arrested.
Right.
But yet in there, if we're America and we pay our taxes, I think every single state should follow the law the same way. How could you go ahead and say it's legal in one state, but the next state it's illegal?
Well, there's not a uniform code that is across the board.
Right.
Each state has its own government system, and the conflict.
I understand that.
It's the different jurisdictions that one has accepted it by virtue of the vote of the people, and the others haven't.
I understand that, but here's my argument, right? If we're having situations right now in the world about going to war and everything, right? So if we have a war, now is it going to be a stipulation that certain people can't go to war? You live in this state here. The war is not for you. Everybody has to go to war. So my point is we should always follow the same law, because we're just locking kids up for no reason whatsoever. So I understand what they're saying, but I'm just saying that I know it's different laws and stuff like that. But I'm saying the government is really, really, I would say, they're just making a situation.
Well, again, they're selective.
Selective.
They're selective. And again, it's just a matter of we, the people, standing up for those things that we want, those things that we believe in. But we are, I was using earlier, we're in this place called a comfort zone.
Absolutely.
I can't find it on my GPS, but I can find everybody operating in it. Nobody wants to get serious about where they live, but they are in their comfort zone.
Well, what I'm getting ready to do is, because we are to that time, and I'm going to wrap it up with that. I like what you said about being in our comfort zone.
Yes.
Darrell, if I can steal 30 seconds, I'd like to also bring to the audience, your audience's attention, that I am with WIGL Radio. We just won a stellar award for Major Market Radio Station of the Year, WIGL 1570 AM.
Congratulations. Congratulations. See, I was part of that.
Yes,
what
you
I'm
were.
going to do is I'm going to end the show by saying this. You have to really pay attention to what's going on here, as myself and Reverend Benoit and J. Francis Springs just talked about. You know, it's just crazy out here, and if we don't pay attention, we're going to find ourselves in bad situations, and we have to just come together and help each other so that we will be ahead of life versus being back in the days. You can't go back in them days anymore.
Oh, yes, we are.
So them days is over. So the days that's coming forward, we as people have to come together. If anybody is watching this program, I thank you. If you need any help or assistance, if you're in a gang or you have a problem, or if you're young and you don't know what to do or how to vote, or you need a job, I'm willing to give you that opportunity. I will guide you in that direction. 888-669-4441. Thank you, and see you next time.
What do you think, my man? You like it?
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna be a good show.